Hi, this is Matt Arian, and thanks for coming and viewing my project on music therapy in prison. Music therapy in prison is a challenging field. Prison exists for many reasons in society. An important function of prison is the rehabilitation of the incarcerated. Music therapy is one way of providing means to help the incarcerated gain skills to re-enter society. The earliest formal introduction of what we understand as music therapy occurred in 1979. Gold et al. Cite work by Wardle, who explored the use of music therapy with women in a psychiatric prison unit. Cotting identified two fields a therapist may work in. The correction field is therapeutic work with the incarcerated who also have a diagnosable mental health condition. The second fieldwork area is in the forensic field. The forensic field is working with incarcerated individuals who are found not guilty by reason of insanity or those held against their will for psychiatric observation in conjunction with criminal activity. In my review of the research, Jornovic and Vog propose a third area of fieldwork. This field is providing music therapy to the incarcerated in general to help them promote the use of music in everyday life, which borrows on Small's definition of musicking. Musicking refers to music as a situated social action. Knowing what we generally understand to be the benefit of music in society, this emergent third area of fieldwork brings that concept into the prison society. The culture of prison is an important consideration for anyone who might work with the incarcerated. The clients themselves can be most any demographic. What the incarcerated have in common is criminality. The experience of incarceration can also dramatically shape inmate behavior. Jornovic and Vog cite work by Crew which describes the prison as a one-dimensional emotional space. The incarcerated often model a harder exterior to adapt to the environment of mistrust and violence. Any emotional vulnerability is presumed to be hidden away. It is necessary to remember that prison society has its own unique set of rules and customs that will be unfamiliar to the music therapist. Alexian et al. Cite the need for individuals providing therapy to this community to be properly qualified and competent to provide music therapy. Security and safety are of paramount concern to the music therapist. Regulations in a prison institution serve to support and strengthen the security of the institution. When considering the working environment, it is important to have a good working relationship with all prison staff. Music therapists must navigate what is perceived as a liberating practice for the inmate and the prison's need for music therapy to provide docile bodies. Inmates, the penal system, and society can each benefit from the introduction of music therapy. Alexen et al., writing on how music therapy benefits resocialization of the inmate, describes how the arts can develop social communication skills. Applying music therapy can assist the inmate with exchanging experiences and sharing feelings with others. Alexian et al. Additionally got input into their research from prison staff. 100% of the prison staff reported that they noticed positive changes in the inmates who participated in artistic activities. Twosted and O'Grady apply the ideas of music sociologist Tia Denora in their work. Denora describes music as a technology of the self. This concept illustrates how the individual can perceive oneself through music. The application for the inmate is that they can move from seeing themselves as a convict to reconnecting with being human. A way to promote participation and provide the incarcerated with agency is allowing them to select their interventions. In review of a music therapy program at a women's prison, Odell Miller et al. Allowed this practice and determined that creative methods, specifically songwriting, were an overwhelming favor to the participants. Twosted and O'Grady reported that the primary intervention they used was having the inmates form a band, with the music therapist serving as a facilitator. The groups Twosted and O'Grady led were able to perform for their fellow inmates and prison staff. When we consider that prisons can become a place where criminal culture is transmitted, music therapy offers an alternative. The act of performing music makes one a musician instead of a prisoner. More importantly, the men in the band program began to support each other. Their shared experience enabled the band members to identify if another band member was struggling. This ability to connect and reach out could have the ability to prevent recidivism. To build this concept further, Chornovic and Vog found in their study that the men began to function as musical carers. One man not only shared music with others, but began to attune to the needs of others and adopted a truly listening stance, arguably one of the most important qualities of any professional music therapist. Let's break down a couple brief musical examples. The first is a study by Watson, working with adult male sex offenders. Watson cites earlier work by R.K. Hansen, which identifies common needs assessed among sex offenders. These are intimacy deficits, negative peer influences, attitudes tolerant of sexual offending, problems with self-regulation, both emotionally and sexually, and general self-regulation. Watson introduced group improvisational drumming to the men being treated. Watson found these short-term results in the group. Social interaction increased, the men began to build intimacy skills, the men began listening to others, the men developed relaxation and coping skills, the men had an increased tolerance of others. The men in this program also showed an increased ability to regulate their emotions and an increased ability for turn-taking and impulse control. Watson concludes that there is an opportunity for more empirical evidence to be gathered to support these findings, but the music therapy intervention supported the needs identified by R.K. Hansen that the sex offender needs to work on as part of their rehabilitation. For my live demonstration, I'm going to give you a sample of the result of a songwriting exercise. In this case, someone I've been corresponding with who's an inmate at the Jacksonville Correctional Center in Jacksonville, Illinois, sent me a lyric, and I have set it to music. So this is an example, again, of facilitating with prisoners to fill in the gaps of skills that they may not have musically, but to, in the end, help them create a musical product. Every day I'll wear my two-tone blues as one day closer. As time passes by, it is one day shorter. My freedom may be little during this time I'll wait, feeling sad or happy on both sides of that gate. Time away from those I love, this sentence has erased moments that can never or will ever be replaced. These two-tone blues, they only will describe me. May I never let this uniform identify or define me. I am a husband, a father, a brother and a son. Regardless of what mistakes or crime in my life I've done, my faith in God the Father provides a strength in me as His blessed and forgiven child. Forever I shall be. One day these two-tone blues will be a memory in my past. As I begin a second chance at life, I pray for things that last. I yearn for the day I will be home with friends and family. Such is the cost and blessing of my two-tone blues for me. There are limits on performing music therapy in prisons. One is that there can be turnover among the inmates. Inmates may be reassigned. Inmates and staff may have poor internal communication, and inmates may not be aware that music therapy services are offered. Members may not join the group consistently, session after session. In conclusion, I'd like to share these two quotes from researchers whose work I read. Chornovic and Vog write, "An important concept is the ripple effect, referring to how music naturally radiates and works outwards to create community. And Tote writes, even small therapeutic contributions can make a dramatic difference in a prisoner patient's therapeutic program.